Ever found yourself in the pursuit of the absolute perfect audio interface? Dreamed of a compact powerhouse that fits right into your home studio? Imagine a device that carries a staggering 48-channel mixer in a size that you could literally fit in your pocket. And not only is this tech marvel compatible with your traditional workstation, but it also works seamlessly with mobile digital audio workstations like Logic Pro for iPad. Well, audio dreamers, your fantasy has been engineered into reality. Introducing the Neumann MT48. Hello everyone, this is Andy from Hana Road Studios, and welcome back to a brand new video here on our YouTube channel. First of all, I want to talk about the fact that this video is not sponsored. The people from Neumann and from Merging Technologies were kind enough to send us the sound card for us to test it for 1 week. So yeah, here it is, and we finally had the chance to test it out, and we are really impressed by it. Just to go through my personal experience, I first got the chance to play around a few years ago with the Merging Technologies Anubis, and I was really impressed by it. The sound card sounded amazing, the experience with that sound card was right on point, and now I'm so excited that I actually have the chance to present you the Neumann MT48. The sound card has 4 analog inputs and 8 analog outputs, configured as stereo pairs. I got the chance to work on this type of converters while testing Anubis a few years ago, and I was completely blown away. It has a dynamic range of 136 dB, which is already a statement in the industry, to be honest. Also, the headphone amps are quite unique. They allow you to go really crazy with the volume and actually with the dynamics, and the quality of the headphone amps is amazing. The level of details that I was able to achieve while using these converters alongside my previous speakers, the Amphion 118, was amazing. So just to talk a little bit about what extra stuff this sound card brings to the table, it has the USB-C power supply cable, it has the USB-C data cable, it also has the SPDIF and ADAT connection, and also it comes with an AES67 port. The fact that it has this AES67 port is just amazing because it makes it really easy for us, especially here at Hana Road Studios, to connect it with the other devices as well, because our main connection system is based on Dante. And even though it's an AES67 port, because the connection is made over the Ethernet, it allows us to connect it to any Dante device and to any Dante network. I would add in the description of this video the exact procedure on how to connect the Neumann MT48 to the Dante network. Because it's using the AES67, it's mainly made to be used through the Ravenna system, but it's nothing too complicated. The procedure is easy and it works smoothly. Also, another advantage that this sound card has is the fact that through this AES67 port, you can actually power the sound card, which is amazing. So you can just get rid of the power supply cable and use the power over the Ethernet port. Just to quickly go through the buttons that the MT48 has, we have the home button, that's more or less the main one, that allows us to access the mixer here on our touchscreen. And by pressing it one more time, it allows us to access the preamp menu, the EQ, the dynamics menu, and also the reverb menu. This way, we are able to play around with the 4-band EQ, with the preamp, with the compressor, and with the reverb send. Then we have the speaker A, that allows us to have a setup for our first pair of speakers. We have the setup B for the second pair of speakers. We have the headphones 1 and the headphones 2. Here we have the talkback control, and then here we have the mute button. I'm not gonna get into too many details because there are already amazing videos out there on YouTube, especially the ones made by Neumann. I'm just gonna quickly cover some of the details that this sound card brings to the table, and then I'm gonna start talking about the functionality. The console is really user-friendly. The touchscreen is amazing. It's so easy to actually get into it, to dive into it, and to work with it that you don't even have to study the manual, to be honest. We have the possibility to do different kind of mixes, to play around with our setups, and to adjust them accordingly to our needs. For instance, it helps us a lot to have an easy recording process, especially with an artist. It's easy for us to do all the adjustments, to do the setup, to control the volumes, to control the sense, the effects and everything in order not to have our session affected or to make it really user-friendly and fast so we don't waste time on technical stuff while having a recording session, for instance. What I loved about this sound card was the fact that when I was recording, I was also able to play around with the faders and with the effects, with the sense, without me having to open up constantly a console on my PC while getting out from the DAW. So it helped me a lot having it here on my touchscreen. I was adjusting while I was looking at my project. And also, take it even further, by using the IP address of your local network, you can actually connect your tablet to the console of this amazing sound card. And this makes it easy for artists, for instance, to actually control the reverb or the effects or the monitoring system from their vocal booth without me having to actually do that for them. Also, it can be very useful in an environment where you're, let's say, actually recording a band and you have to move around from different rooms and you don't have access, you're not close to the sound card. You can actually do the adjustments on the iPad, let's say, or from the phone, and you can easily hear what they hear from the same place without actually moving around the sound card. Neumann also offers the possibility to record everything with or without the effects. That's amazing because this way you can actually control the dry signal or the wet signal. I can only imagine a scenario where you can use the sound card while you're performing, let's say, and to actually use the effects that it brings, for instance, the dynamics or the EQ or the reverb, because it's really transparent and it's really high quality. The compressor comes with the sidechain function as well, so this way you can actually have the compressor triggered by a different input. For instance, if you're using this sound card in a podcast environment, I can only imagine how easy it is when you start to speak to actually have the entire song or an ambience or the background music to come down. It makes it really easy to use it in this kind of environment. What I also love is the fact that you can actually control it with a MIDI signal as well. So for instance, right here at Hana Road Studios, I'm using my talkback with my pedal. And it's easy for me because this way I don't have my hands occupied by constantly pressing a talkback button. It makes it easy because I can trigger my talkback microphone when I want to speak with my artist in the vocal booth only by pressing the pedal. There is an adapter that can be found on the Neumann website that is meant to be used for this kind of purpose. Another function that I really like, and I can see it so useful in the studio, is the fact that you can have snapshots, which means presets. They are convenient to save, they are convenient to recall them. This makes it really easy to work with the artist because you can have a preset or a setup for each individual artist, especially if you have your artists that are constantly coming back to the studio. You can easily allocate a preset for them and you can just recall it every time they come in. This way you don't have to always do a test recording or to constantly do some adjustments because, I don't know, 1 hour before your artist you had some other client, let's say. So this way you can have presets for each artist. Maybe some artists prefer the vocal louder in their headphones, or maybe you prefer something different for your recording session with one of the artists, and you can just have it here as a preset, you can recall it. I know that there are lots of sound cards that allow you to save the presets, but it's not about just saving the presets. It actually makes it easy to recall them as well and to see them here on the screen without having to constantly open the console and to check it out to see if it's right or not. You can have it here and you can adjust it on the go. The fact that you can also add a color to the preset just makes it easy for you to keep things organized. Another fact that's worth mentioning, it allows you to peer it or to connect it to other devices such as the merging technology Horus or the Happy, and you can actually extend all those inputs and outputs. And I can only imagine in all kind of scenarios that it can be used. You can easily link tracks, you can expand them, you can control separately the left and the right, you can play around, you can mute, you can color, you can solo. These are already basic functionalities that I feel like any card should have, and the Neumann has it as well. As I mentioned before, there are already videos out there, and there's also the Neumann manual that is really user-friendly, and it helps you understand what each function of the sound card does. But just to quickly go through the menu as well and through the settings, you have the general settings. It allows you to adjust the sample rate, you can make it auto, it allows you to adjust the latency, the clock if you want to have it internal or external. It also allows you to adjust the brightness and the button's intensity. You also have a cooling mode. It's automatically set on low. On the low and on the mid setting, the fan sound of the sound card is really silent. But when you choose the high setting, the sound card becomes a bit noisy. But I can only see very rare situations where you will have to use the high fan, because I mean, this sound card, even though it heats up, the entire case by itself is a heatsink. Then you can also adjust the IP address, the subnet, just for you to have everything on point when it comes to the network settings. Then you have the audio inputs, the outputs, where you can actually control like lots of features here, the gain, the output max level, attenuation if it's needed. I see only few situations where you have to actually adjust them. You have the optical, you have the USB setting. This allows you to peer, to activate or deactivate the post FX, the built-in mic, the bus return mix, the software playback like the DAWs. There's also a function that's called direct routing, which allows you to more or less bypass the sound card. I see only few cases where you want that, in case you want to actually do all the monitoring from your DAW, but it's not necessarily recommended because the DAW adds more latency than the actual sound card. So I see only few cases when you might need this function, to be honest. Then you have the monitoring menu, which allows you to adjust like lots of settings, to be honest. There is also a setting here called Mix 1-2 in AB mode. This allows you to actually avoid having the both speakers playing at the same time. So yeah, this way you control better the speaker and the monitoring system. As I mentioned, there are like lots of ways to use the Neumann MT48. I can see it being used even in a small setup, in a home studio, or even in a larger setup such as the one that we have here at Hana Road Studios. It's easy to connect it to all the other products that we have here by other manufacturers as well. It's easy to make it part of the system. It's easy to use the converters and to have the sound at the highest level possible. So even though you might say that this sound card can be a bit pricey, to be honest, it's worth every single penny. The quality that it delivers is amazing. I can tell you from all my experiences with this one, you can really feel the difference between this sound card and other sound cards as well. And also, on top of that, the cherry on the cake, it can be used with the Logic Pro for iPad, and this way you can really have a compact setup but also high studio quality one. I will quickly show you an example of how I used this sound card with my iPad Pro. So let's quickly talk about how to use the MT48 on the iPad. It's so easy, to be honest. You just plug it in and it straight away recognizes it. You can open up Logic, you can go to settings, and you can straight away see that the sound card is being recognized. You can do all the adjustments, including the buffer size, all the inputs and outputs. You can have the general settings, you can go to recording, you can go to MIDI, and it also recognizes it straight away. Automation and many other details. So from this point, it's just so easy and so compact, the entire setup. And because Logic Pro is so user-friendly, in combination with the MT48, it makes the whole setup very user-friendly. 1, 2, 3. Vocal recording test. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Vocal recording test. As you can see, it's very easy to use it and to do any recordings. So as I said, it can be used in any environment. In a big studio one, alongside a complex setup with multiple sound cards or multiple connections, but also in a small setup in a home studio connected to the laptop or even to the iPad Pro. What really gets me excited about this sound card is the fact that because the driver supports so many inputs and outputs, you are actually able, very soon I guess, to use it for the Dolby Atmos system. The Merging Technologies Anubis already has the setup inside to actually configure the speakers, so I guess it's just a matter of like time until Neumann MT48 gets this feature as well. And on top of that, it also allows us to have some EQ correction, which is a mandatory thing for the Dolby Atmos system in order to have a certified Dolby Atmos studio. So yeah, here's our tutorial about the Neumann MT48. I hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to hit us up with any questions, inquiries, or suggestions, or even your personal feedback about this sound card if you were able to test it so far, if you actually have it in your setup. We are looking forward for your feedback. So if you enjoyed the video, please feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel, to hit us up on Instagram as well, and make sure to follow all the Neumann and emerging technology releases because they make amazing products. See you next time.